While we often feel secure in our everyday reality, there is a profound deception hidden in the very air we breathe and the sky we behold. For eons, humanity looked up at the night sky and saw a velvet curtain of darkness, believing that the black gaps between the stars were hollow, silent voids of absolute nothingness. We were like children staring at a closed door, never imagining the titan of light that stood behind it. This is funny science. And before we pull back that curtain, please subscribe to help us keep exploring the depths of the unknown. To understand the scale of our ignorance, look at the moon, our constant glowing companion. Now, imagine a tiny, nondescript patch of sky to its lower right, a spot no larger than a grain of sand held at arm's length. To the naked eye, this is a graveyard of light. But in 2012, the Hubble Space Telescope stared into that specific nothingness for over 2 million seconds. It wasn't just taking a photo, it was trying to hear a whisper from the dawn of time. When the data returned as the Hubble Deep Field, it shattered our perception of reality. In that single microscopic pinprick of darkness, Hubble found at least 5,500 galaxies. Each one is a colossal island of light containing hundreds of billions of suns, some appearing to us as they were just 450 million years after the Big Bang. This realization is haunting. If one empty spot holds 5,000 galaxies, then the entire sky is not a void, but a crowded, luminous sea. We are standing in a room filled with billion-year-old ghosts, realizing that the darkness isn't empty. Our eyes were simply too weak to see the fire that has been burning since the beginning of forever. As we reconcile with the staggering truth that a single pinprick of darkness overflows with thousands of worlds, we must confront the long, painful struggle of our ancestors to break out of their own mental cages. For centuries, our ego was our most impenetrable prison. We lived under the comforting delusion that the Milky Way was the sum total of existence, a solitary island of stars in an infinite, empty ocean. Early astronomers like Charles Messier began documenting faint, blurry clouds they called nebulae. Yet they remained convinced these were merely small, dusty features within our own backyard. They couldn't conceive of a universe that didn't revolve around us. This intellectual shell finally shattered in 1924. Thanks to the relentless curiosity of Edwin Hubble. Armed with the 100-inch Hooker telescope, the most powerful eye on Earth at the time, he bypassed the blurry gases and looked for a heartbeat. He found it in a specific type of star called a Cepheid variable at the edge of the Andromeda Nebula. These stars pulse with a predictable rhythm that acts as a cosmic yardstick. When Hubble calculated the distance, the numbers were world-altering. Andromeda was 2.5 million light-years away. In a single heartbeat of discovery, the universe expanded from one lonely galaxy to a limitless landscape of billions. But Hubble's revelation carried a darker, more haunting truth. He discovered that nearly every galaxy in the cosmos is fleeing from us, with the most distant ones moving the fastest. This wasn't just a discovery of scale. It was the realization that space itself is stretching, a remnant of a violent birth we now call the Big Bang. We are not residents of a static kingdom, but travelers on a piece of shrapnel from an explosion that is still happening. Understanding this forces us to accept that we are infinitely smaller than we ever dared to dream, floating in a forest fire of light that stretches far beyond the limits of human time. Once we accept that we are living within a sprawling, violent explosion of light, we must begin to look at the invisible scaffolding that holds this chaos together. The deeper we peer into the void, the more we realize that galaxies are not just scattered like dust. They are woven into a terrifyingly grand architecture known as the cosmic web. These are not just random clusters, but massive glowing filaments of matter that stretch across the dark, separated by great voids. Empty regions so vast and desolate that light itself seems to get lost within them for millions of years. It is a structure that mirrors the neural pathways of a giant brain, a silent network where gravity is the only language spoken. In the middle of this web lies our own address, a place that sounds poetic yet feels impossibly fragile, the Laniakea Supercluster. In the Hawaiian language, Laniakea means immeasurable heaven, and the name is hauntingly accurate. It is a cosmic watershed, a sprawling network of 100,000 galaxies spanning 520 million light-years. When I look at the maps of Laniakea, I don't see stars. I see a complex, feathery structure of light where every strand is a highway of suns. It is a reminder that we are part of a colossal living system, a single cell in a body so large that its movements take eons to complete. Yet, for all its majesty, Laniakea is just one of many superclusters in a universe that is increasingly cold and distant. Within this immeasurable heaven, we find ourselves tucked away on a minor filament, surrounded by the shadows of the boat's void. It is a sobering thought to realize that even our most massive home is merely a transient arrangement of matter. We are drifting through a cathedral of shadows, held in place by the delicate balance of dark matter and gravity, forever moving toward a center we may never reach, in a structure that defies every human concept of scale and permanency. While the sprawling majesty of Laniakea makes us feel like part of a divine celestial tapestry, the reality of our specific location is far more humble and isolated than we care to admit. To find us, you have to descend from the 520 million light-year grandeur of the immeasurable heaven into the Virgo Supercluster. Then zoom into a tiny, disorganized collection of about 50 galaxies known as the Local Group. Within this group, there are two giants locked in a slow gravitational dance, the Andromeda Galaxy and our home, the Milky Way. But even the Milky Way is far too vast to call home. It is a shimmering disk of 400 billion stars, a labyrinth of light where losing your way is the only certainty. If you look at the structure of our galaxy, you'll see four massive, majestic spiral arms swirling around a central supermassive black hole. You might expect a world as vibrant as ours to be located in one of those grand, crowded highways of star formation, but we are actually tucked away in the suburbs. We live on the Orion Spur, a minor, fractured branch nestled between the larger Perseus and Sagittarius arms. We are roughly 26,400 light-years away from the chaotic, radiation-filled heart of the galaxy, a distance that is both a blessing and a curse. It provides the stability and silence necessary for life to crawl out of the tide pools, yet it leaves us stranded in a quiet corner of the cosmic woods. Finding our sun among the hundreds of billions of others in the Milky Way is like trying to identify a single specific drop of water in the middle of a Pacific storm. We are a needle in a haystack of light, an accidental miracle thriving in the suburban shadows of a galaxy that doesn't even know we are here. Being stranded in the quiet, suburban shadows of the Milky Way brings us finally to the edge of our own porch, where the cosmic scale suddenly collapses into a single, fragile heartbeat. To find our sun, a modest G-type yellow dwarf, we must look toward the Alpha Centauri triple star system, our nearest landmark in the dark. Just 4.2 light-years away, it serves as a lighthouse, guiding us to the 150 million kilometer orbit where a small, blue marble spins in the silence. This is Earth, a world so tiny that from the perspective of the galaxies we've discussed, it doesn't even exist. It is a sobering, almost painful realization that everything we have ever loved, every war fought, and every dream dreamt happened on a speck of dust that is invisible to the rest of the universe. As we look out with the James Webb Space Telescope, we are reaching for the very boundaries of the observable universe, a sphere 93 billion light-years across. But even this is a gilded cage. Because of the speed of light and the accelerating expansion of space, there is a horizon beyond which we can never see and information can never reach us. We are effectively trapped in a bubble of time. If there are other civilizations out there, the odds of them ever finding this needle in the Pacific are essentially zero. We are shouting into a canyon so vast that our voices will fade long before they hit the other side. Yet, there is a strange, defiant beauty in our isolation. We are the eyes through which the universe witnesses itself. We may be small, and we may be lost, but for a brief, flickering moment in the darkness, we are the ones who dared to map the infinite. And if this journey moved you, please consider subscribing to the channel to support us in creating more content that explores the wonders of our existence.